Hi, everybody. It's Chuck Gilmore with Power to Sing. And I'm live tonight. We're going to be talking about, free training from the course Conquer Vibrato. So I want to welcome you with me this evening. And I want to quickly say hi to some of you who have been waiting here on the sidelines. This is a little bit different than my regular format. I'm usually doing it on Tuesday afternoons, and I will be again doing it tomorrow. But I want to do a special live broadcast tonight to talk about this course and to be able to share with you some really great information and also do a lot of question and answer. So I want to say hello to. Hey, Bobby Vaughn. Hi, nice to have you here with us this evening. I've been trying to increase my vibrato ability. So far, not so good. Bobby, I hope that I can help you tonight. Ivan, hello. Nice to have you here. Joe, hi. Joe, howdy. Nice to have you here. Raj, hello. Sir, how can I sing any song with fling? Not sure what that means. Tonight, I'm going to postpone answering questions. Normally, I break the flow and just answer questions. We will answer questions. I will answer questions, but it'll be towards the end. So let me just talk a little bit about. I'm definitely going to say hi to everybody here. I want to, but the format tonight is going to be a little bit different than my regular show. Tonight, we're going to go through some specific things about vibrato, about the course. Conquer Vibrato that's just been released and is now in an open cart situation. And I also am going to, and I've made a note of this, I sent out an email today that for those of you who are here for the length of the broadcast, I am going to select one of you individuals just randomly that's watched the whole show this evening, and I'm going to try and hold it down to an hour, and I'm going to give you a free a 30-minute lesson. So that's a $45, $50 value, and so it's a bit of an incentive, a little bit of a bonus. It's called Watch to the End of the Show bonus, okay? So those of you who are still with me at the end of the show, I will select randomly one of you to do a free lesson with me. So, all right, let me just say hi to Al Wheatland. Nice to have you here, Al. Great to see you again. James Voss. James, my man. NFG Soul, hello there. Nice to have you here. Audiophil, well, hello there to you. Yes, Joe, you're very welcome for this course. Alex Wibley, good evening. HD, nice to have you here. Diego Santos, hello. Jay Loransom, Alejandro, nice to have you here, Alejandro. And 4:30 here. Hope it's worth it. NFG Soul, where are you watching from? Just that is pretty brutal. I hope it is worth it for you for sure. Hey Melody, nice to have you here. Greetings. Sarah Long, nice to have you here, Sarah. Thank you. So well, yeah, so I'm going to try and make this worth your time, you guys. So I'm hoping that watching to the end of the show is not going to be too onerous here. Nice to have you here, James, really. Nicholas, Mike, Biddy 4, nice to have you here, Mike. I'm on. You have a spinning wheel. Well, gosh, I sure hope I'm on. I guess I need somebody to tell me if I'm on or not. Nicholas, hello. Ron Rush. Nice to have you here, Ron, from New York. Oh, Urson. Okay. NFG. Okay, Urson. Sorry, I've forgotten your handle. 430. Oh my gosh. Well, you're truly devoted. Ron, I just sent I just sent some of my kids back to Brooklyn that live back there. I've got two children that live in Brooklyn, and so hi from New York. Philip, Ricardi, hi. Glenn, Rio, Ivan, you're from the NYC too. All right. So Glenn says, thank you for all you've taught me so far. Thank you, Glenn. I hope that it's been of help to you. Yorkie Robles, hello. Nice to have you here. So James says I'm on. Yeah, Melody says we can't all be on the mountain time zone. So it's only my time, 7:35 here. Thank you guys for joining me throughout the world. Sarah, thank you for that, for letting me know that I'm on for sure. So Mike, the Biddy 4, hope for your, maybe just refresh it will get me back on for your viewing. I always try to make you listen my voice recording now. I might get lessons with you, okay? And hi, Tina. Nice to talk to you again today. Tristan. Hello from Houston. Very nice to have you here. Okay, NFG Soul is in Turkey right now. So we have a worldwide audience tonight. And thanks. He's letting me know I'm on. So, okay, you guys, let's get down to some action here. You're here tonight to be helped, and I want to do that. For those of you who may not know my backstory, I sang all the time when I was a youth, and when I was in high school, I actually got into the concert choir and the madrigal group my sophomore year. So my sophomore, junior, and senior year, I was performing a lot. My junior year, I got the leading role as King Arthur in Camelot in my high school. My senior year, I didn't audition for the lead role because it was out of my range, I thought. But I got the supporting lead role as Enoch Snow in Carousel. By the way, the lead role of Billy Bigelow, I can now easily sing his soliloquy, but I couldn't at the time. During all of this time, including my beginning years in college as a music major, I had been studying voice for about 3 years between junior, senior, and freshman year of college. And my first teacher told me that if I didn't have vibrato, if I wasn't born with it, then you don't have it. And so I was under the assumption that I was one of those unfortunate few that just didn't have vibrato in my voice. I wasn't born with it. And I just accepted that as because she had been trained at a university in the Midwest where I grew up in the States, and she had her master's in vocal performance. She was a well-known singer in town and a well-known teacher. And so I just assumed that she knew that, what she was talking about. But come to find out, ladies and gentlemen, that, well, when I was 44 years old, 43, close to being 44, I found out that I could actually develop vibrato. And in doing so, it kind of like, in conjunction with increasing my range, which had been stuck at a certain point, E above middle C, those two things was like, for me, those things were like a miracle in the development of my voice. Now look, let's get really to the point here. If you can't do vibrato in your voice, you're limited, and it doesn't sound as good as if you can do it with vibrato. If you can't do it with vibrato, even if the audience, well, first of all, it's very unlikely you're going to be singing for an audience. But if you do sing for an audience and you don't have vibrato, somehow they sense that there's something not quite right. Why? Number one is if you don't have a vibrato, then it's really easy for the pitch to start sliding downward. So you have a bit of a pitch problem. If you don't have vibrato, there's a kind of a missing fullness or richness of the voice. If you don't have vibrato, there is this sense of this straight edge tone. It just lacks professionalism. And, if you don't have it, I will speak from experience, you lack a bit of confidence in your voice. I always felt bad because my good friends that I was in madrigals with and that were doing great things with their voices all had vibrato. And I just thought, well, I wasn't born with it, so I don't have it. So I want to just begin with that story because obviously it was not true. You don't have to be born with vibrato. I'm curious, how many of you believed or have been taught all your life that you had to be born with vibrato if you have it? If you don't have it, that's the way it is. I'm just curious. If I think it's kind of a very commonly misunderstood thing. So I want to say hi to Melody Eason in Georgia. Nice to have you here, Melody. And Deki in Jamaica. Thank you for joining us, Deki. Joe is in Wisconsin. Is it cold there, Joe? And D.D. Roy. Good morning, Malik. Okay, yeah. Jayla Ramson. Can you explain what vibrato is exactly? I will explain that. When I sing to an audience, I just rasp to hide my flaws. That's an interesting comment. Alex, nice to have you here for sure. I had no idea I could develop it. In fact, I remember the feeling that when my teacher said, oh, no, you can develop vibrato, I thought, yeah, right. Yeah. I didn't believe her either. And so it came about as a result of just as I began to experience it. And so let's talk a bit about what exactly is happening here. I am such an advocate, you guys, for singers who don't know, first of all, that it's even possible to develop vibrato. And secondly, if you don't have it, I'm such an advocate for you who want to develop it and want to grow it. And so, if I miss somebody's name tonight, I apologize. I'm so glad that you're here. I see that Antti Tiavola is here from Finland. Nice to have you here. And Sarah Long, great to have you here. Maybe I've already said hi to you, Sarah, but so some of the comments that are coming through, Sarah said, I thought you were either born with vibrato or you would have to create it artificially, and that was very bad for your voice. That's the kind of the second half of this, is that there's this thought out there that if you weren't born with it, that it's, and this is what I thought too, that it was wrong to try and manufacture it. So, and maybe that's where my original teacher, my first teacher was, maybe she was coming from that point, that no, you shouldn't develop, you shouldn't try and make it happen. Well, you have to, so let's make this step number one, you guys and gals, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't have it, if you weren't born with it, you can't, number one, you can develop vibrato. And I'll just say that as an example, when I was younger, if I sang straight tone, and not when I was just younger, until I was age 43 to 44 time period, I sang with a straight tone. Instead of singing a straight tone, I learned to say, ah. So it is a possibility for each one of you to come from a situation of zero, absolutely no vibrato, to a strong, healthy vibrato, and in such a way that no one could ever tell that you weren't born with it. No one has ever said, Chuck, it sounds like you have an artificial vibrato. No one has said that. And I don't know if I had told you that whether or not you would ever be able to tell the difference. You can develop vibrato, and you can learn the vibrato as well as if you had been born with it. In other words, people will not be able to tell whether or not you have had to learn vibrato or whether it was just something natural. It's going to sound as natural and as natural as if you had been doing it all of your life. It's not going to sound manufactured. If you don't have vibrato, then the information that I've been sharing these last few months really should be of help to you. And thanks, Alex. I know it's stabilized again. I've got a little indicator here that says the stream is strong at this point. But what about you? You know, what's your experience? I know what kind of disappointment I experienced. I know what kind of, you know, some of my best friends in high school were just great singers with vibrato, and so it was. I felt kind of like a second-class citizen. I don't know why I did, but you know, that's the way it seemed to make me feel, as that I wasn't. Well, let's be honest. I just wasn't as good a singer as they were because I didn't have the vibrato, and I felt that way, and I knew that. And so to get vibrato was just like a huge plus. So that's the message. You can not only get it, but you can sound really awesome with it. And so that's point number one, is that the opportunity is that, first of all, to be aware that people are learning to do vibrato, and they're learning to do it well, and they're learning to do it so well that no one even notices or that don't even realize that you've had to develop it. So let's talk a bit about inducing vibrato. And how do we induce vibrato? So NFG Soul says, it gave me constant anxiety and made me give up on clean singing. All right, Alejandro says, everyone's laughing at me because I'm wiggling my chin to have vibrato. Right. That's what some of us have, you know, you resort to doing that. Jeffrey, hi Jeffrey, I use the puppy dog too, but I can't seem to develop even the tiniest bit of natural vibrato. Now, let's talk about this. Let's talk about some of the things that you can do to develop vibrato. The puppy dog is, I like the puppy dog because it gets it going in your throat. But here's the thing, you guys. You've got to do it long enough so that the vocal cords start to memorize the feeling. And by that, the puppy dog is a kind of a simple way to approach getting this pulsing feeling in your voice. And so if you start out, for those of you who don't know what the puppy dog is, the puppy dog with baby steps is if you have a dog and he's running around the block and he comes in and lays down, He's panting. And so if you'll do that, now in a very relaxed fashion, add your voice to it. And just do it on That's the voice at rest. Now, with that same feeling, from pant to let it smooth it out so that it's a legato pant. So it's like this. Now, notice, Alejandro, that my jaw is not moving. It's just that's what you call a really slow vibrato. But the feeling it's kind of a pulsing feeling. Like a little bit more, a little bit less. Just do that much for a minute, you guys. This is where it begins. It's not something that you say, okay, here it is, do it. And then you say, I wish it were that way, but I remember feeling this myself. It just feels awkward at first, but this is a pretty good way to get it started. So the original Adam, hi, original Adam. Should my stomach pulse in and out while I'm making the puppy dog sound? You know, it's okay at first, but you don't need to do that to maintain it. So basically, I think the answer is no. You don't need to keep pumping. Now, this doesn't hurt at first to say but that's just to get it started. You know, once it's starting to I think just a steady flow of air, and let this do the So NFG Soul says, I'm doing this, I can feel my vocal cords moving when I touch my neck. Yeah. There's a little bit of a vibration in there for sure. I don't know if I'm feeling my vocal cords move, but I am feeling the tissue, I'm feeling the sympathetic vibration of, the vibrations being caused by the vocal cords themselves are activating tissue around them. And so you can feel the vibration. So yeah, you want to relax your throat and your jaw. It's just like, just nothing to it. It's just all down in here. Air and the vocal cords playing together. Just work with that for a second. Ivan says, I can do vibrato, but it really is shaky and uncomfortable. Of course, yeah. Remember when you first started to learn how to ride a bike? Somebody rides behind you and holds you up so you don't fall? That's the way it feels. It's so new. And they let go of you and you turn around and you see that they're not holding you, fall. So what you want to do, you guys, once you get this started, is there any other breathing exercise I can do to supplement the puppy dog to develop vibrato? Yeah, the breathing is another important thing, because you got to have enough air to keep it going. And so you want to be able to, so you want to take your breath by down here. So you let your tummy drop a little bit, and then you pull it in. So that's the diaphragm dropping, and it draws air into your lungs. And so if you take your elbows here and lean over and put your elbows on your knees, okay? Put your elbows on your knees and just from that position, breathe. Breathe in and out a few times with your elbows leaning over, elbows on your knees. You can feel your stomach. When you take a breath, you can feel your stomach pushing up against your jeans or your pants. That's how you want to breathe when you're standing up. So notice what's happening. If you lean over, when you breathe, your tummy comes out. And you fill up. You fill it. It feels like you're filling your stomach up with air. You're not. You're filling your lungs up. And then when you exhale, your tummy goes in. That's the kind of breathing you want to have for vibrato. So if I do it while I'm standing up, tummy out, air goes in, and then now that I'm filled up, you want to be able to hold it about that long. So that why is it important to hold that? Now I'm not saying that at this point you should be doing that. I think that's a little bit I'm jumping ahead of myself. So do that again. Take another breath, low breath, tummy out, air in. Can you go a little bit faster? Just a little bit faster with that same feeling. Take another breath. Go a little bit faster. That's the beginning of vibrato. You've got to hold it long enough for the vocal cords to start to feel it. And if you do it long enough and enough times, the vocal cords will start to memorize it. Again, it's like riding a bicycle. You have to do it enough that your body starts feeling the balance. Well, in this case, what's being balanced? It's the air and the vocal cord. Air's coming up. Air comes up, goes through the vocal cords, and the vocal cords open and close, open and close, open and close. And they start to get into this cycle, this rhythm. So you get this oscillation. Don't worry about that, though. Just think about that. Puppy dog. Take another breath. See if you can go a little bit faster with it. Hold it out as long as you can, then take another breath. See if you can go a little bit faster. That's the feeling of vibrato. Let me take a couple comments here. Okay. Is there any other breathing exercise? Okay, so that's the breathing there. If you lean over, feel your tummy come out. You fill it up with air, and then as you're using the air, you pull your stomach back in. So your belly button's being pulled back towards your spine. So you're pulling it back in, and that's pushing the air up, giving you a supply enough to support. It gives you a little bit of solidity in your air supply. Ma 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 ma. Now, I don't expect anyone to walk away tonight and have this down aces. You know, it takes a while to start getting the feeling. The original app says, should my stomach pulse in and out? Okay, so you don't need to pulse it in and out. Just make sure that there's steady flow of air, and that's doing the pulsing right up here. If you lose it, start it over again. And then speed it up as fast as you can. You may not be able to speed it up as fast as I can, but go a little bit faster and practice that several times. And so is there, let me see. Jayla Ransom says, I think it's my problem. I paid particular attention to my breathing recently and noticed I didn't get enough air, if that makes sense. Yeah, so you want to have enough air to hold it out, 3 or 4 seconds. Why? So the vocal cords can memorize it. The biggest mistake we make is, because it feels so awkward, to go and stop. Oh, it's not working. I'm going to stop. Start it up again. Start it again. Even if you have to do it slow. Take another breath. All right. Does having vibrato means your notes are well supported? It helps, definitely. Yes. Of course, you can support notes in a straight tone, without vibrato, but you definitely want to have the air supply for the vibrato. Sarah Long says, I've gotten to the point where I can do vibrato a lot easier, but it doesn't sound great half the time. That's okay, Sarah, because it won't be long, and it will be 75% of the time it's sounding good, and then eventually it's going to be 100% of the time sounding good. And so you work it. You work it so that over a period of time you start to find that rhythm in the vocal cords start to memorize the rhythm, the feeling. I've been told about bring my larynx down. This is Alex, almost like a yawn. Is that good form? In an exercise, it doesn't hurt to do low larynx exercises, but you would never want to sing that way. You don't talk that way, I'm guessing, Alex, so why would you sing that way? In the exercises, you might want to do some low larynx exercises, but I don't think it's going to make any. I don't think it's going to have any positive impact on vibrato. I just realized I can do tremolo. Okay. So for those of you who don't know, so it was asked a while ago, what is vibrato? And vibrato is alternating pressures. What are the pressures? Well, the pressure of the closed vocal cords. There's 2 chords here. They lay horizontally behind your Adam's apple, and they're opening and closing. And the other pressure is the air pressure coming up from the lungs. And so the air pressure is pushing against the chords, and they break apart, and then they close back together, and then they open and close, alternating pressures between those two, the air and the muscle. And so there's a cycling that's going on too. There's an oscillation. So you've got several things going at the same time, but alternating pressures, and they're alternating, and then the pitch alternates between two different notes. And it gets going fast enough that you hear one note primarily. You hear the bottom note. So if I were doing it and I landed on the top note, so we're singing that bottom note. That's where you hear the pitch land. But you can hear inside the vibrato, you can hear the alternating whole note. So I hope that answers the question that was asked earlier. What is vibrato? And it's something that we in the Western world come to expect, even if it's just subconsciously, we expect to hear the vibrato. And if it's missing, something feels missing. We maybe aren't aware what, but we can kind of tell there's something not quite right. All right, now, if the vibrato is too slow, it's called a wobble. You can hear that it's just wobble. And the opposite of that is if it's too fast, it's known as a tremolo. It sounds kind of like a little lamb, or like a machine gun. I don't know how to describe it. Tremolo. Glenn, hi Glenn. Glenn, how far a pitch movement is vibrato 1/4 tone? How far a pitch movement is vibrato 1/4 tone? Glenn, I guess it's 1/4. Typically speaking, when we're training vibrato, you start out with a whole step, alternating whole step. But embodied within that final vibrato is this sense of the whole step. Melody Iris says, "Why do some notes or vowels work better than others? I don't get along with the O vowel. No vibrato without really working hard to engage it." So you guys, vibrato always feels differently depending on where you're at in your voice. Well, let's stay with just getting it started. How is it going for you guys right now? Are you feeling like you're able to get a little of the vibrato going? Jeffrey says, "Is the puppy dog a different method than alternating pitch, or these two go together?" Jeffrey, it's just another way of attacking the same problem. The alternating pitch is another way of doing it. And it's related because you can hear it and so it's just another look, another angle to pursue, and it's great. It works well too. Alejandro's melody, the letter O is easier to put vibrato than I. So everybody's going to be a little bit different on this, and it also depends, Melody, on what pitch you're on. So here's why it's harder, you guys, and some vowels are more open. Oo and E are closed vowels, and so if you said she, that might be pretty easy to do. Try that. She. Let me see. For the guys, Girls could be up here an octave higher. She, 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 she. But if we go up the other way, if the guys go up to she, 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 that's tougher because it's in the first bridge of the men's voice. Ladies, same thing. She, 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 or even here. She, 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 she. Now, the E and the U are your two most closed vowels. And so it will make it easier to do those no matter what area of your voice you're in. But if it's going to be hard on either of those vowels, you'll probably find it harder when you land in the bridge or in your head voice. And so the location of the pitch also contributes to the easiness or the difficulty of the vibrato. Now, if you said, but if you take that E, said E, she, she. Let me see. For the guys here, she. Here's the F. She. Try it on. No. Well, we're assuming that you can do some vibrato. We may be way ahead of a lot of you here, where we're just trying to get it started. So don't worry too much about that right now. Those are questions that will come later. So let me just talk about this idea of progression here. Some of you have answered here. I already got it with the course. Okay, so NFG sold. Yeah, so NFG has already purchased Conquer Vibrato, actually. Not sure what question he's answering here, but yeah, you could probably use distortion together in FG for sure. All right. Let's talk about this idea of progression. So Alex says, still forced. As soon as I let go of the puppy dog, it goes back to no vibrato. So Alex, do this for a second. Would you say, ah? Give yourself plenty of air and just shake your hands in front of you. Ah. If it stops, that's okay. You're teaching your vocal cords. Because one of these times you're going to stop, and it's going to go on. That's the beginning, and you want to latch a hold of those and realize that eventually your vocal cords are going to take it and go. The vocal cords have neurons in them. They have the ability to feel and to sense. Otherwise, why would we do singing exercises, right? They can be trained. And so shake your hands and then stop and see if you can keep the vibrato going, even if it's just a little bit. They're doing it on their own. Give it a try. Frankly, it's been a long time. It was it's been 22 years ago now that I've learned vibrato. I think that is how I got mine started, shaking my hands. And try to keep it going. So give that a try, Alex. Ivan says, it seems that the faster a vibrato I try, the less of a full half tone and the difference from the bass note is. The faster the vibrato I try, the less of a full half tone. Yeah, so you can tell that the cycle is shortening. So if we said, there's definitely a shorter peak and valley in the oscillation, but you can still feel the sensibility of the whole note in that vibrato tone. That's what makes it so powerful, you guys, because it helps your pitch. It rounds if you're singing a straight tone, it's so easy for that tone to start to slide. But if you got the vibrato going, it rounds this tone off. It really corrects. I don't know if the word correct is quite the right way to put it, but the pitch improves. You can just hear it. You can hear the pitch improve. Of course, we're not grabbing and holding on to the chord and holding that straight flat tone either. So that's one of the other benefits of the vibrato. Okay, so HD says, Chuck, I feel I have my stomach engaged to pump the voice out. Is that right for vibrato? Not necessarily, HD. The vibrato is all here. It's vocal cord and air playing together. But we do want to have the low breath helping send the air up here. But after that, it's done. Just keep that steady flow of air. It's the vocal cord and the air interchanging, balancing together. It's really not me about sending like shots of air. Now, it might be a way to start the feel. But eventually we stop pumping it and just make sure there's steady flow of air. And so the feeling of engagement is okay, but that's true with all singing anyway. So I'm always taking a breath, pulling it back in, but I do that when I speak. I do that when I project. I take the low breath and pull my tummy in, and so that I am engaging the voice. I'm engaging the speaking. I'm projecting, and you use that whether you're a public speaker, or whether you're on stage doing lyrics or lines, rather, and or you're singing. So that's a part of it for sure, but it's not necessarily what makes the vibrato. It's the alternating pressure of the vocal cords and the air here at the vocal cord level. NFG Soul says, think of it this way: you're making a baby while he or she is trying to walk, and he or she is about to fall. Okay, so does the package include videos, or is it pure audio? Okay, so I'm going to get to explain what's going on with the course. But let me just say that there's a a success pathway to getting vibrato. First step is what we're doing tonight, and that is inducing the vibrato, getting the beginnings of vibrato. That's step number one. And even in the little things you're doing right now, that's more than it was before. And you revisit it, you come back again, you do it again, and that's a little bit more than you were doing before, until finally you're able to do it 2 or 3 seconds. So step number one is you get the beginnings of vibrato, or you get vibrato going. You get the baby steps. You get the initial feeling of it happening. Step number 2 is you improve it now. So you want to be able to hold that out, even if it's a little slow. If you can just do that, then you're ready to move on to the next step. In this success plan, this is inside the Conquer Vibrato. The next step is improve vibrato. And so inside improve vibrato, you guys, there are exercises. First of all, guess what? I spend the first topic inside lesson number 2, which is improve vibrato. First topic is breathing. First topic is breathing, because you have to have enough air to hold the vibrato long enough for the vocal cords to learn vibrato. So we'll spend an area in that first lesson, spend it on breathing, and with the use of with the assistance of the diaphragm, and allowing this tummy to drop, and bringing that air in, pulling your belly button in, and providing a secure, steady stream of air to the cord structure. That gives you what you need to have in order to sustain the vibrato long enough to memorize it. But we're going to cover things in that second step, improve vibrato, such as how to speed it up, how to slow it down, how to get it consistent, and how to do it in the bridge of your voice. So as I mentioned, and Melody kind of referred to this too a little bit, vibrato is hard in some places on different vowels, and in other places it's not as bad. But one of the things we have to learn while we're doing this vibrato is doing it in the bridge, in the transition from chest to head. Oh, she. So one of the exercises we're going to do is she. And there's other things like that that are going to take the beginnings that you get and begin to lengthen them out. So you're doing them longer, you're doing them more consistently. And I give you about 3 exercises in each category of progression there. And then in the and that's not even the section on practice yet. So this section on improve is to help you. Maybe you have some vibrato. Maybe it's kind of wonky. Maybe it goes too fast. Like NFG said, "Oh, I feel like I've got some tremolo here." Well, maybe you need to slow it down. So we'll show you how to stop it, and then start it, and stop it, and start it, stop it, and start it. So basically, this improve section of improving vibrato includes getting control of your vibrato. That's the second step in this success pathway. The third step is to practice and sing with vibrato. So in the practice section, there are exercises for beginner level, intermediate level, and advanced level singers of vibrato. And in the advanced level, we're actually going to get you up into your second bridge, which is way the heck up there. So for the guys, they'll be doing some things like obviously those are advanced, so you don't need to worry about that in the first 4 weeks or whatever. But there are exercises there that are going to help you do your vibrato and practice your vibrato, work on the vibrato in the first and the second bridges of your voice, so that no matter where you're going to be singing, you'll be able to have that vibrato. The other part of that third lesson, that third step in the plan of success for vibrato, is to sing with vibrato. And so there's some exercises in there where I actually help. I give you some things to sing if you don't have anything to sing, where you can practice the vibrato. You practice it slowly and deliberately. And then there's another section on problem, areas of vibrato that questions that came up, so that I wanted to answer those. Like, should you hold the vibrato straight and then, and then let it go at the end of a phrase, or, should it be vibrato all the time? And I answer those, and I give you demonstrations. So those things are included inside that area of the course. So I got to back up here. We've been going for, fortunately the stream has settled down, but I want to make sure that I've covered your questions. So let me just, so Bobby Vaughn, first thing he said was, I've been trying to increase my vibrato ability. So far, not so good. That's okay. We all have to start someplace, Bobby, and just don't give up. Just keep after it. It'll come. Some kids, it takes them longer to learn how to ride a bike. And, so some of us, it takes us longer to get the vibrato going and get it comfortable. Again, the course is designed to take you through the steps so that you actually practice singing it. Once you practice singing the song, then, you're going to be able to apply it to every song you're singing. And it says, hello, sir, how can I sing any song with I'm not sure. Maybe that's vibrato. Okay, so let me just try and get to a couple other questions. Jeffrey, I didn't know you were from China. Thanks, Jeffrey. Awesome. Incredible to have you here. I heard in the past you can develop it. I've heard both in the past that you can develop it and you can be born with it. Yeah, probably so. There's always realms of improvement there. I wish they would have told me I had no vibrato. They just said, "Oh, you can't sing." Very good, James. I thought you were either born with vibrato or you would have to create it artificially, and that was bad for your voice. Okay, I think we've answered that. You do have to induce it and get it started, but it's not bad for your voice. And after a while, no one will ever know the difference. And so Melody said, I always thought I would never have consistent vibrato, or that I would be able to sing or that I would be able to sing a soprano part. Okay, so that's coming along, I think. If sure creating artificially was considered faking. Yeah, you guys, you know what? You are faking it at first. But let's frame it another way. If you're, my wife and I have eight children. We went into having one of our babies, and because he was late, he was quite late, the doctor said, we're going to induce your labor. Well, we faked it, in other words. We induced the labor. She had to have a drip of whatever that stuff's called. Melody, you could probably help me with that. There's a drip that causes labor to start for a pregnancy that's been, that's overdue. So our son was overdue, like he was beyond the 9 months, and the doctor felt like it was important to get the vibrato, to get the labor going. And so he gave her some medicine that induced the labor. It started the labor. But once the labor was started, she didn't have to have a continual dosage of this drip that was going into her bloodstream. Once it got going, she was fine. I think they turned it off and unplugged her from the drip because she was cooking once she got going. It's the same thing with vibrato. You may have to induce it to get it started, but after a while, it's going to do it on its own. I promise. And when you're in the heat of labor, it doesn't feel like you're faking it. Yeah, let me just stop and say that if you guys find yourself artificially creating vibrato, put your thumbs here on your chin. Don't push hard. Just rest them there, and practice the vibrato this way. Because if you're moving your chin, you can feel it, and so you just stabilize that chin. That's the way you want to practice it until you get rid of that habit. Yes, so you guys, Melanie made a comment here. I thought I'd be laughed at if I tried to use vibrato. You could be if you started too soon, but believe me, there'll be a time. You could sing to your family, or you can sing in small groups or whatever, where you can practice songs with vibrato that still feels a little bit new to you and maybe a little awkward. And after a while, it's going to solidify, and you're going to be more and more confident over a period of time. Jeffrey, how'd it go with this? Let me know. There's more than one way to skin the puppy and dog. Alex says, anyone else? Okay, so that's where we had our little bad spots here. My baby says probably most of the people here. Sorry about that segment in the middle there, you guys. I don't know what was going on, but okay. So yeah, there was a frustrating part there about our stream. I hope you were able to stick with me long enough. Yeah, your messages are going in, Jeffrey. With the puppy dog, I had my baby steps, and probably most of the people here. Okay, so he said, it gave me constant anxiety. It made me give up on clean singing. Yeah, so we do sometimes just give up on things, but don't give up on this, you guys, because I'm a witness. It's possible to get it done. So Jeffrey, I'd really be interested to see what this is like for you. Give that little handshake and see if you can't get the feeling of that vibrato going. So melody, again, the comment was it only works on some vowels and some pitches. So at first, probably E is an easiest one to do. E or ooh. The original Adams in my okay, we talked about that. You don't have to pulse your tummy all the time. Am I doing this? Can I feel the vocal cords moving when I touch my neck? Yep. Yeah, you can feel it. Everything's relaxed. We talked about breathing, and in the course, you guys, there's breathing. There's one segment, one topic in a lesson all about the breathing. Okay, so I can now do vibrato with resonance, but sometimes it's shaky. So for me, it's not natural that my voice has good vibrato. I can do that if I just want to. So it's a technique. I can now do vibrato with resonance, but sometimes it's shaky. Yeah, so Alejandro, just keep after it. It's going to get better. And again, in the course, you guys, I give a lot of different ways to do vibrato exercises. Some of them go up, some of them come down, and some of them are on repeat. Some of them are she. Vibrato does take good breath support. When I ran out of air, it shuts down. Yes, it's a very good observation Melody makes. And that is, if the air stops flowing steadily through the vocal cords, even when we're singing, it stops. So you do want to have a consistent, steady flow of air. Jayla said, I think that's my problem. I paid particular attention to my breathing recently, and I notice I don't get enough air in, and if that makes sense, and it does. So the breathing that we talked about tonight, this low breath, I go into more detail in the course, and it does help in singing and in vibrato, and singing with vibrato. Sarah Long said, I've got to the point where I can do vibrato a lot easier, but it doesn't sound great half of the time. It will, Sarah. It's going to get better and better. Does having vibrato mean your notes are supported? I think we talked about that, and it does definitely help. Okay, so it's harder for some vowels because they're more open. Just like it's harder to sing in the bridge. That's a lot more advanced, a lot harder to do than because the vowel is more open. It wants to splat. It wants to fall into chest. So you got a couple things going there that you have to balance. So the shape or the size of whether it's closed vowel or open vowel, the more open vowels are more difficult, especially in the bridges. Alejandra says melody letter O is easier to put vibrato than I, and that's probably correct. She can do I all right. Probably varies by person, and that's true too. I already got it with the course. Okay. James says, yes, I'm feeling control much better. Never gave any thought before. Good. Still force, as soon as I let go of a puppy dog, goes back to no vibrato. I wanted to hear, Alex, how it went with Ivan, seems the faster vibrato I try, the less of the half tone and difference from the bass note there is. Yeah. That's correct, but you can hear there's still the sensibility of the full tone, even though the peaks and valleys are smaller. There seems to be that tone still riding inside it. That whole it doesn't sound like it's down here, does it? It's an interesting thing. It's a neat observation, Ivan. I agree. It's you can kind of feel that. Okay, so definitely more confident with trying vibrato than I was. I'm working now on not being afraid of what comes out. Alex, I can't wait. HD, okay, you don't have to pump it out, right, with the stomach. Just keep a steady flow of air going. FG Sosa, think of it this way, you're making a baby while you're trying to, okay, we talked about that. Does the package include the videos? Yes, so you guys, in the course, Conquer Vibrato, let me describe it. It's all video and audio. So you can see it, watch it, I demonstrate it for you, and then of course there's audio playing with it. Now I will be adding some things actually to the course over a period of time, and some of those things I'm going to add are just MP3s of each lesson, of each topic, and MP3s of the exercises. That's still in the process, but there's no need to wait right now. You can get started on these, and you can do the course without that right away. But that's coming too. I'll be adding that in over a period of time. But it's divided into 3 sections: get vibrato, improve vibrato, and practice and sing with vibrato. And so that's the success path along. You enter one way, you enter at one end, you can't do it at all. You come out the other end, you can do it. That's the plan. Ron Brosh says, when I do the handshake technique, the vibrato seems to be more of a change in dynamics rather than a change in pitch. Is that an issue? Well, think about this for a second, Ron. There's an element of that. I think there's that's what that feeling of more or less, more or less, more or less, more or less is. It's that pulsing feeling. So I think you're right. There is that sense. But again, it's kind of the beginning element of the feeling of that pulse. So don't be afraid of that. I actually saw this in in a lesson that I took with my family. I don't have time to do this. But Zethrigs attached one of those belts, reducing belts from the old machines. They go around the stomach and they shake you. Because I had a daughter that had no vibrato, and he put her in that thing, and it worked. So he was just shaking her, and we got vibrato going, and she's got vibrato today. So there's a lot of different ways to get this started. Melly said, I think it warms the tone and adds color when the voice has vibrato. And that's a great way to put it. It really does. Okay. So Alejandro, let me see. Whoop. This thing went real fast all of a sudden. Where'd you go, Alejandro? Is it really to put vibrato in the morning? Is it? In the morning here in the Philippines, I have a lot of cracks in the morning. Yeah. Time of day for vocal exercises can help you or hurt you. Does the package include at least one on one session? So this is what it does include, Jeffrey. For those of you who purchase the course, we're going to do another live broadcast where I'll cover all the questions that you guys have from the course. So it has to be purchased by the deadline on the countdown, but we'll do another hour plus, whatever it takes to get all the questions asked and answered. I'm going to do that for all the people who purchase the course in the next couple days. So and that's going to be free of charge. We'll go in a lot more depth than we are tonight. Hi, Chuck. Just finished rehearsal. We'll catch up with the rest later. Great, Jeremy. Nice to have you here. I can slow it down, but did tremolo while trying to speed it up as an experiment. Yeah, so again, you might want to go through that one that says slow the vibrato completely or stop it completely and start it. That's in the course. The course got me covered. There you go. Jeffrey uses, by the way, is there a way to get a recorded copy of today's session we're having right now, or will it be posted online? I didn't know what we were going to end up with here with our lousy stream that we had. I may be putting this on a private link rather than being in just open on an open YouTube video. I may be putting it onto a private link, and I will, for everyone who wants it, then I will give you the link to that. Melody says he's going to be post a recording. So Melody, I might be doing it. Now, let me say this. For those of you who buy the course and we do this, yes, the recording will go into your course, and you will have that to watch forever. Elena Krasnova, nice to have you here. Please make another lesson how to stop vibrato. Sometimes I want to record some parts of the sound without it. Yeah, so I actually do cover that in the course Conquer Vibrato. That's something that is inside that course. Pitocin is the name of the drip for inducing labor. Thanks, Melody. I knew you would know. Oxytocin. Yeah, that'll stop a lot of things. Okay, my baby examples were fine, but giving birth to vibrato, no thanks. You guys. Okay. Hi, Phantom, Ariel. I just joined. Yeah, we're talking vibrato tonight. Fake it until you make it, Tina says. That's exactly right. And, you know, it sounds a little bit cliche, but it is true. Fake it until you make it, and then go out in public and use it, and nobody's going to know. All right, cool. Do you have any advice for making vowel sounds when I can't figure out what accent to use? I sound like a 1950s advertisement. You know, you're faced with a kind of a particular problem, Phantom Ariel, and that is your language, English is not your first language. So when you're talking about vowel sounds, are you talking about English vowels, or are you talking about your native tongue? And so I'm not exactly sure how to answer you on that. Vowels are really important, but it's kind of a little bit out of our topic tonight, which is vibrato. But hi, Samata Azarika. Is a piano must to practice vibrato? No, you don't need a piano to practice it. Jeffrey says, I tried the handshake exercise, but I can't sustain it as soon as I stop shaking my hands. Typical. That's average. That's exactly the way I started too. Do you advise practicing together with puppy dog together, or concentrate on one of these? Do them both. Alternate between the two. Eventually what you want to be able to do is, even if it's just a moment or two. What just happened? The vocal cords started doing it on their own. Go back to when you started riding a bicycle. You start going a little bit, you know, like 10 feet, and then you fall. It's the same thing as this. You go a little ways and you stop. Well, get back on and do it again, and it'll go a little bit further, and then a little bit further, and then a little bit further, and pretty soon, whenever you want it. Hang in there, Jeffrey. 6 a.m. for me. Sheesh. Holy mackerel. All the way from Turkey. And that is true devotion. Nick Munoz. Hi, people. I say my voice is too piercing or pointy. Is there any way to soothe my voice? Kind of like when you sing to a baby. Yes, vibrato. Which is what this is all about. Alejandro, I want to learn mix. Yep. And this is it's great to sing with mix and with vibrato. I can say humbly that I developed my vibrato naturally, but by practicing the exercises that you're showing us, I can attest that developing a vibrato is very possible. Thank you, Tina. Awesome comment. Paga Hussein. I have a vocal nodule, but I'm a high schooler, so I'm constantly talking. Do you think it will ever go away? I try my best not to talk a lot and rest, but my voice sees no improvement. If it hardens and becomes a hard nodule, the only way to remove those, from what I understand, is to have it surgically removed. So if it's still soft, then a vocal rest will resolve the nodule. So I would recommend that you go see an ENT doctor, because the hoarseness of your voice is an issue here. You want to care for that. I would go see the doctor tomorrow if you could. Absolutely, go see the doctor and see if it's hard or soft. And if it's a soft nodule, then don't talk to anybody for about 3 weeks. Iram Nave. Will the course be helpful to someone who is learning Indian classical singing, which includes a lot of vocal acrobatics? And that's a good question. I would say that it's not going to help the vocal acrobatics, but it will help in the places where you want to sustain a vibrato. They are a bit different, Abram. It's almost more of a trill that you're doing. So we're doing a classical. I was doing a classical song with a student tonight, and it's at the end of the song, the guy we were watching on YouTube, who's a professional tenor, he said, long diesel, or whatever I can't remember what the words were. They were in Italian. And so yours, in the traditional Indian music, it's more of a trill than it is a vibrato. But there may be places where the vibrato, if you can't do it, this would definitely be of value to you. No question about it. But it's different. It's not the trill. And I don't teach trilling in this course. I have an ENT appointment on the 14th. Okay, awesome. Good. So now I'm just waiting. So go easy on your voice. Until then, I would go like, so I would carry a piece of paper that I'm on vocal rest. Have a nodule on my vocal cords. Just give that to your teachers. Tell them you're not going to be talking, and don't say anything until you get the doctor to look at it. Good luck to you. Okay, you guys. Now, I have appreciated everyone sticking with me this evening because we had that little issue right in the middle of this evening, and it caused some broadcast problems. It's smoothed out, thankfully. I don't know what happened, but it got perfect again. So thank you. And is there any other questions about the Conquer Vibrato course? Look at what we've done. We've spent an hour and a half tonight. It's not a fast thing to really learn the basics of the vibrato. That's why I wanted to do a course. And the course is, let me see, in FG Soul, I can't remember exactly. Is it close to? It's like 2 hours worth of information, I think, on the course. So what I'm going to do for you guys, what's going to happen? The only thing I don't like about the YouTube comments, well, I'll tell you what. I'll print these out. I'll print these comments out. If you want, this is what I'm going to do. This is going to make it easier on me, harder on you, but here's what I'm going to do. Send me an email so the email is chuck@power2sing.com. chuck@power2sing.com if you want me to send you a link to our broadcast this evening, okay? chuck@power2sing.com. Cool. From Serbia. Awesome. I am a bass. Mateo F.A. I am a bass. Okay, so I figured there's about 2 hours of kind of a logical progression, step-by-step progression on vibrato inside the course. I think that's kind of important. It's tough to jump around from topic to topic and things like that, and really get a kind of a consistency, a layered approach. Step 1, step 2, step 3. This baby step, and then, okay, let's go a little bit further, now a little bit further, and so forth. And I think this course does that. And thanks, Joe. Appreciate you too. Sorry. Now, and so the course is on sale. So if I spent, in my studio here, it'd probably take about, let me see, I figured it'd probably take me about 4 hours to cover everything that's inside that course and to help you really learn it. And that would and if we did that, I would charge you $360. It was $90 an hour in my studio. And so I think the course is, well, for me personally, vibrato is it's almost priceless to what's done for my voice and what I've been able to do as a singer and performer and so forth. Many of you already know I've been in a lot of musical theater shows, and it's been a life-changing experience for me. But I'd value the course at $360, but no one's going to buy it for $360. And so I don't want you to suffer from, I don't want you to suffer from that, from not having this course. So the list price on the course is $124. But in the release, this is the inaugural release of this course. It's the first time it's been released. And so I'm selling it for $99.97. And personally, I've spent tens of thousands of dollars on my voice. So $100 is, what it's going to do for your voice, I think is going to be worth a whole lot more than that investment. But it's going to be a wonderful investment for you, and it's going to pay